El Shaddai is basically art in the form of a spectacle fighter. It's quite a feast for your eyes, but also your mind. Following the story can be disorienting at first. It's incredibly avant-garde, but if you enjoy strange character designs and interesting world concepts, you will enjoy it. You play as Enoch, an immortal tasked with bringing some fallen angels to justice. Their characters are very loosely based off of religious texts, similarly to Bayonetta. For example, there are Nephilim, a mix between humans and angels, but in this game they look like this. Now, although this is a spectacle fighter, gameplay would be the last reason I'd recommend it to anyone. It's very fun, but the game puts its artistic ideas first. You have a choice of only 3 weapons: a fast slashing blade, a ranged weapon, and heavier fist-like weapons that can also act as a shield. Interestingly, as you attack enemies, they corrupt the weapons, which means after a while your weapons will do reduced damage, until you quickly purify them, similarly to sharpening a weapon in the Monster Hunter series. You can't actually carry all 3 weapons with you at the same time, so you have to rely on stealing them from your enemies when they're stunned. I found it to be a really fun mechanic. As for your attacks, you actually only have 1 button to pummel enemies with, but depending on how you use it, you can have different effects. For example, you can combo normally by mashing it, but if you delay your inputs, they'll come with guard break effects that can get through an enemy's block. Furthermore, if you hold down the button, you'll charge up an attack, which also sets you up for a counter attack if an enemy hits you in that moment. Additionally, you can also block with any of your weapons. In this stance, you have the option to avoid attacks with varying distance depending on the weapon you're wielding, or you can also just perform an attack out of this guard stance. So all of this mixed together does make for a fun flow in combat, and I found that it was really satisfying. However, it is not as in-depth as games like Dante's Inferno and Devil May Cry. Enemy variety also suffers a bit. Although they get some very slight variations throughout, you'll only fight a handful of enemy types. It can get a bit stale, but fights are scattered around platforming sections, so I was fine with it. On the other hand, boss fights were really enjoyable. They were all diverse and creative. Even death is less hardcore in El Shaddai. Because you play as an immortal, you can't really die. Once you lose all of your health, your character gets knocked out, and if you button mash enough, you get back up and continue on with the fight. Every time you die per fight, it gets a little bit harder to recover, and if you don't manage to meet that recovery threshold, you'll go back to the last checkpoint. Yes, it's forgiving, but because I just see this game as an experience, I appreciated that it just let me get back into it so I didn't have to redo fights often. Gameplay is very organic, with all information you need being shown in world as opposed to with HUD. You can see your health on your armor as well as your weapon purity in its color. That's why I strongly see this game as an art piece before a fighter. Think more along the lines of Journey instead of God of War. Everything is thought through to further the game as an artistic game experience. Yes, there is combat and it is fun, but the worlds you visit and concepts in the universe are so intriguing and beautiful to me that I was genuinely enamored the whole time. The music is also very unique and evolves just as much as the visuals with every chapter. Even saving is interesting. You talk to a companion of yours who reports back to God via his cell phone, informing him how your adventure is going.
Well, it depends on what weapons he steals. Talk to you later.
My only real complaint is that PC players have to play with a controller. There is no keyboard support, and although the majority of players will most likely plug a controller in anyway, it should definitely have been an option, especially considering the simplistic nature of the combat. Aside from that though, I really love the game. It's incredibly unique and manages to be unsettling, beautiful, and badass at the same time throughout. It's super creative, and I think people who enjoy being consistently surprised and weirded out in a game will love their time with El Shaddai. I highly recommend it. Thank you for watching everybody. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you next time.